Hi everyone, it's Jenny from Nakasley Wellness. I wanted to share this video with you on a recovery activity that you might be interested in. I read a book called Back to Life by Elisa Salser in the first year of my recovery. And she described a lot of activities that allowed me to identify my feelings and work through it to get through them in more of a healthy way than just going to like AA. It was more of like a process of recognizing what the feelings were, the symptoms that were holding me back um, from a better relationship with myself that I couldn't really open up to another person about. I wasn't ready to open up to a therapist about those feelings. So when I did these art expression activities, it was a really good process for to create an intimate connection with myself and the piece that I was working on, to allow my emotions to kind of flow and put them down and then revisit the project the next day. And it was a really good process to work through my issues that I was dealing with. And so here's a picture of the end result. And these are my trauma rocks. So I had painted those my first year of sobriety. And as you see, there's 10 of them. And each one of them has a different meaning. So when I would be feeling a certain way and a certain symptom came up, then I would grab for that stone and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's the state I'm in. Okay, where do I need to go? Where did I need to get to having like that familiar feeling? And if you have known of anyone that has survived trauma or you have survived trauma yourself, there is some behaviors or feelings that can keep the person sick until they work through them. And the sickness is really like thinking that the world is an unsafe place, that the trauma is going to occur again. So for me, I was leaving a domestic abusive relationship where I was coping with a drug that I became addicted to. And so what I did was with these rocks was really a process in identifying like what it felt like in that state of like to assume that the trauma is going to occur again, and then really shifting it to really realizing that I'm safe now. As long as I'm in my sobriety, that I can have freedom. I don't ever have to feel unsafe anymore. That if I do feel unsafe or if somebody's threatening me, I can call the police, like things like that, where my my mind was so mixed up because I had created a pathway in my mind where drugs was the end result, or it was almost like the carrot that I was getting pulled to, living in an environment that was unsafe. So relapse has a lot of to do with trauma and the symptoms that come up for us survivors. So yeah, art was a great way for me to understand what my symptoms were. So I just wanted to describe to you a little bit more about each rock and what was the meaning behind each of them for me. The first one was a spiraling down stone, and that's the sort of feeling that I would feel like when my thoughts would continuously like spiral down. So it was like rumination. So there was a reoccurring thought pattern like I can't do this. I'm powerless. I'm ugly. I'm all those things that where I just wanted to escape. Like I'm afraid. I can't do this. So, and those spiraling down would get to a point where I'm like, screw it. I give up. I'm gonna go and use again. And so it was really the spiraling down when I held that stone. I realized, oh my gosh, I'm like spiraling down to a relapse. So I really congratulated myself in that I had caught myself before it was too late. The other stone, some of the other stones was fearful. I called it the fearful Jenny stone. And fear was my main symptom. I had a lot of anxiety and kind of like looking over my shoulder, wondering if somebody is following me, things like that. So, being unable to stand up for myself and thinking that I'm not worth it. That was like years of like being told that like I was, worthless, or I felt like I was worthless. And so it was really the stone where I could really say, I am in a fearful state right now. Like, this is my symptom right now. And I painted things around that. So, like, the word fear is in that stone, like in black. And it's like, I think what part of it is like bars where I was trapped. So, and like a lot of dark colors in that stone. The other stone, and I have it here, I don't have it at the office, was stop feeding the monster stone. So in this state, my thoughts would be like feeding this monster, where on this side it would be um, like a negative or degrading thoughts that, like um, I would be around people that were degrading to me. I would listen to music that would like trigger those old drinking times. And it's like my thoughts were directed at feeding this monster. So when I grabbed for this stone, I would say, holy man, like I can actually feed for my recovery. So then I would like jump out of that state and be like, go for a walk or go jogging. I was into yoga in my first year recovery, things like that, cooking, cleaning, getting on the phone, going to a meeting. So this stone would really remind me that my actions were about, or my thoughts could be changed with a good action. The next stone was trauma preserving assumption remedy stone. And that was really like this clear thought about a certain thing in my life. Like, I can never accomplish my dreams. Or the one that I really kept on occurring with me was that nighttime is a scary place. And that was really through years of like, it's 6 o'clock at night and we're going to be drinking and using. And that's when the abuse happened during the evening. So nighttime, sometimes it felt like it was a scary place. So this stone really allowed me to draw or like paint about that state and thinking of nighttime in a different way. So like really like I'm safe, I've got, a roof over my head, really savoring that I'm safe, and I can control my dreams. So if I had a using dream or something where something scary was happening, I could like be the fighter in my dreams and like take my kids back or say no to everything and like run out. It was like that assumption would be changed on the stone. Yeah, so just to recognize that it was just a thought. The next stone is prescription stone, and that's really about just replacing negative feelings with positive feelings. So doing a little bit of art around that, like, so if fear was a color, what would it be? And then what's your prescribing feeling? Like, so fear to trust, or fear to courage, or if it was guilt to resiliency, or like guilt to, what would you call, like freedom and this trust that you have now. So that stone would really like say, holy man, like you're not permanently in that feeling. You can change and you can adapt. And so that stone would really help me change a feeling. The other stone is a distraction stone, and that's really more about the addiction part. Is like a craving, a trigger, and then a craving comes, and it's like an overwhelming like feeling. I'm like, oh, okay, I have money, and like where the thoughts continue to go. This stone would just to totally be to distract you. So my stone was it was sort of like the same characteristics as the earth. So when I grabbed for the stone, I like really got into my body and grounded myself. Um, reminding me that like I'm on this earth and I'm very connected to Mother Earth. I had done a fast before I got into addiction, and it was like when I felt, or I could hear the wind in the leaves, and like knowing that I survived for 4 days out in my fast alone in the bush and stuff like that. It was really like this grounding that, I can survive, I'm here, I'm in the present, and that it's really important for me to ground myself right now. Another stone of those seven is the hero stone, and that's just painting a little bit more about who your hero is, and or who you look up to. So some of mine were Tina Turner, Gandhi, my dad, my granny, and it's just labeling those types of characteristics with colors. So Tina, like with music and how she was, and she reached out to her spirituality to become, an amazing role model. And yeah, so just focusing more on how their actions in their life can alter my actions as well. So those were the heroes that I painted on the stone, and they don't have to be a face. They could be just like a line or a symbol. Um, Another one of the stones was the car behind the dent stone, and it's really about who I am now and how trauma has made me into the person that I am today. So it was like if I never went through what I needed to go through, I wouldn't be strong enough to be able to be this person, this amazing helper, or like mother that I am today, to break this pattern of addictions in my family. And so I drew a little bit about that. Like, yeah, so it's a really interesting process. I just love art because it's very intimate with yourself, and it doesn't have to be with another person. Like you can journal about it and brainstorm about it and then get to the canvas and do a little bit of art around it, and it doesn't have to be beautiful. Like there's just no judgment. It could just be colors. It can be lines, it can be symbols that represent certain things. The rescuer stone is another one. And so my rescuer at the time, I was like writing this book and I'm like, I'm going to help women get out of abusive relationships where they've coped with drugs or alcohol and became addicted. Like that was my purpose. I'm like, I'm going to be a rescuer. I'm going to be this fierce woman that can protect them, to stand up for them, to speak for them, to educate them about how to get out. So that was all up what my rescuer stone was up to. And yeah, and then the last one was gratitude stone, and that's really just painting about things that you're really, really grateful for in your life. Um, yeah, and so these stones were really a great process for me. First, to identify what my symptoms were and leaving the trauma environment, and over the years too, right? And and it also allowed me to demonstrate to my children some of the symptoms that I was experiencing, because they haven't gone through what I've gone through and things like that. So yeah, I hope this was helpful, and stay tuned for another recovery video. You can reach me at landbasedhealing@nacosley.ca if you have questions or comments. Thank you.